Alright guys, welcome into Ion Market this Thursday evening, and we've got a pretty sizable list of cards to get through today, so I'm going to try and keep it brief so the video doesn't end up super long. I've honestly been looking around at a bunch of different things, some higher end stuff and some stuff desperately in need of reprints, but overall I pulled a lot of this from the best selling, just going a couple pages in and taking a look at what's really been moving this week. So we're going to jump right into it, starting off with Ally of Justice Cycle Reader. My biggest guess on this starting to go up for the super rare from OTS, by the way, the near mints are about $9 at the cheapest, is with the expectation that Drytron's going to be getting a lot of, boost and play with the new Xyz monster coming out in Lightning Overdrive. Plus, generally speaking, whenever a light archetype comes into the game and is dominant, this card does tend to get looks, but I think Drytron has to be the primary reason for it. If there's something else I'm missing or you guys think it may be something different, definitely let me know. I think as well this card does have a couple prints. So there's the dual terminal one, which is pretty pricey. The hidden arsenal one is about $6. We've seen this card get buyouts before, but it is super limited in quantities for what's there, and I don't know if this is a card that I'd say go out and grab, but if you're thinking it might be a good side deck option for you and you are interested in getting one, I would definitely say you're probably better off to get it sooner than later. Interestingly, Dark Ruler No More, which just is a really good card in general, is running lower on quantities than a lot of the other cards within its structure deck. There's still a decent amount of them here, and as you'll see, some sellers have, large amounts, but it's up to about $5. Realistically, it's the only, real value card in the Charmer deck, so it doesn't shock me, and wouldn't shock me if this eventually became, a $10 card, just because eventually it's going to be the only reason to buy the deck, and then you weigh, do I want to buy the other singles, do I want to pick up the deck and piece it out, and once the deck's no longer in stores, you'll have to be relying on online to get it, and, weighing the benefits to you. So, at $5, I don't think it's terrible. I do think that this will eventually be a card that we see go up 8 to 10, just because of, historically speaking, when they reprint a card for the first time, and it's a good card that sees a lot of meta play, it typically will hold value, or at the very least creep up towards a decent amount of value versus its other counterparts, and the secret rares are about $15 near mint, so that's that. Although there is one here for $12 if you want to grab it from a new seller, so they're trying to make a sale. Tri-Brigade Charade the Ominous Omen is up a bit with the Tri-Brigade support coming out in this set. I think people are kind of chasing it. I would say be very careful, as it is likely to be in the Megatins. I see no reason they would not put this in there. Obviously, you'll look like a big brain if they don't put it in there, and this card does go up more, but I would say $20 is a pretty steep price to pay on this. Well, yeah, pick and choose and kind of see what works better for you, though, I guess. If you really want to play the deck and you anticipate going to some events before September when the tins come out, or online events or whatever, I mean, obviously things are loosening up in a lot of the country, and you probably will see more local events, and who knows, maybe even regionals and stuff at some point, so if you're going to play it, then I guess you don't have much of a choice, but I would say if you're just looking about down the line for this, you'll probably be able to get this a lot cheaper soon. Speaking of cards that just tanked out of nowhere, Halki Fibrax $22 near mint first ed, obviously because there's no one limbs, and even then, I mean, $25. I picked this up last week and it was $33, so I don't know what happened to lead to that, whether or not people just think ban list speculation maybe, it's going to get hit, or reprints looming, but that was a pretty significant $10 drop over the course of a week. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you have extras and you want to, I don't even know if I'd say offload him at this price. I gotta imagine it'll rebound, especially if it doesn't get any list attention, so, which you could debate whether or not it should, but that's a very surprising drop. If you're waiting to get one and you don't think you're willing to take the chance that it's not going to get banned, then that's a pretty solid price to pick it up for at about $20. Harpy's Feather Duster's another one that's going up a little bit at a time for the gold rare. It's almost 15. We're just going to say 15 for the sake of easiness. I'm hoping that this gets another reprint soon. Maximum Gold was a solid set, and, it has its reprints from that, but that's the only reprint more accessible, and no copies of this card are cheaper than, $17. So I think there's a very good chance we see this in the Cyberdark structure deck replacing Lightning Storm. That's my guess, unless they shock us and give us Lightning Storm, but this card could definitely use a more accessible print, and a common would be nice and a good way to get that in the hands of players. Speaking of Harpies, Harpy Perfumer is up almost $10, limited in quantities comparatively to some of the other cards from this set. It's a really good card. We've got the Harpy's Pet Dragon that'll be coming out at some point down the line, and I think this will be one that people do want to play. I personally think the Secret Rare looks a lot nicer than the Ultra, but they're both about the same price, so it really comes down to preference for you. But the secret is up from about 5.6 to 8, 9, almost 10. So $10 is actually the cheapest if you factor in shipping. So just wanted to bring to your attention. Reptilian Hydra, I'm a little late on this one. I don't fully think this card's all that great, although I guess it has more to do with the Abyss support and just scarcity in terms of, accessibility. 27 on the Unlim, and Near Mint First Ed, well, that's a Spanish one, so it doesn't really give you an indicative sense of the value, but Near Mint First Ed, $40. It's Stardust Overdrive, so First Ed's pretty tough to come by for that. I have no idea. I mean, it's a neat card, and it seems like if it was more accessibly playable, it'd be broken because you destroy all your opponent's monsters with 0 attack and then draw a card for each one, and you could combo that stuff pretty well with the Reptilians. But as it stands, I don't personally see this as a card that I would recommend spending $30 on, but you do you, I guess. Speaking of cards that are $30, Scrap Chimera is up a ton, with Scrap Raptor being a common now. People that were probably anticipating having to spend a lot of money on that card now can breathe easy, but maybe breathe a little less easy because you still are going to have to go after the Chimeras and Scrapyards. $40 for the Unlim, and, well, about $40 for the First Ed, too. They're very, very close in price. You could get an Unlim for like $35, so that's there, but there's not a lot of these available either. So you don't have to pay a ton for Raptor as a secret rare, but it does look like you're going to be paying a bit on the Chimera unless they slip a reprint. This could be an OTS 16 card. I would not be shocked by that, and it would be a very welcome reprint. Scrapyard, just as much. Near Mint. This is D-Rev as well. This is $39 for the Unlim. And $45 for First Ed. Just add a Scrap Tuner from your deck to your hand. It's an insane card. I do believe this actually searches Raptor as well. Another card that only has the one print, and unless they slot it into an OTS or randomly somewhere, you're going to be paying a pretty penny. So, yeah, you don't have to pay a ton for Raptor, but you will be paying on these. I do think if Raptor was, like, super expensive, you might have seen these fall out as a result, because obviously, people will be directing their investments elsewhere, but since that is not the case, both of these are pretty high, and you're looking at about $90 each for a playset, so maybe closer to $120 on Chimera. Hopefully that will settle out a little bit. Fantastical Dragon Phantasme is up for all copies, but the Megatin is up to about $7 for the super rare. This was $2 for a while. If you were able to get it then, you're definitely doing nicely now. The alternate art is, $5-ish. And then the Ultra from Dual Overload's about $7. I would personally say if you're going to get them, go with the Ultra over any of these. Obviously, unless you want to go for the Secret, which is significantly more money. $32 for the Unlim, and presumably more for the First Ed. But Phantasme, the better links are, the more links you play, especially with Orchist and stuff being, ideally coming back into the meta for some people, is one to keep an eye on. Number 100, Numeron Dragon, is up even more. I covered this relatively recently. $15 for the Ultra Rare from Dragons of Legend, the complete series. The colored versions are a little bit less, but not by much. You're looking at about 10 to 11. The purple one, you get it about $10. So this has got to be because of combos with the new Utopia monster, as well as with Draglubion. It's just a really good card in general, and it's, iconic. It's the 100th number, but every copy is up, and if Dragons of Legend, the complete series, does become a decent value, slot, I guess if you want to call it that, long term, it'll definitely have a lot to do with, obviously, DMG and Numeron Dragon, but Toon Kingdom as well. There's a lot of stuff to look at in there, and so just, food for thought on that. Ultimate Tenki is up a ton. This has to be an inflated price of $300. I can't possibly see this staying. You got a market of $171, but if you have them and you want to try to list them, you might be able to put some, competitive offers up there and get a decent price on this. I don't think this will stay $300. It looks like it was bought out, probably with Tri-Brigade implications, and then as a result of that buyout, it is now at whatever somebody wants to sell it at. So very low quantities on that, which we do see it spike quite a bit. Another high-rarity card, Champion Pack Pyramid Turtle, got a buyout. Not sure why. It's not $500, so don't pay that. The market price is $79, which seems a bit more reasonable, between $75 to $100 for an older card, legacy format card from Champion Pack, but there's none on the market, and I have no idea when they will resurface. I also imagine there is not a massively large quantity of Super Pyramid Turtles just out there in circulation that are going to be going up to list, so if you have it, again, same thing I said, you could set the market right now if you list it near mint, and I would, maybe strive for something a little bit more reasonable than $500, but you might be able to make a sale. I think that's more of a placeholder than anything. Jumping to the lower rarity stuff, Evil Twin Kill is up a bit to $15 with a median of 17, market price of 16. This is slowly but surely climbing up towards 20 bucks. I think this is a fan favorite archetype. I don't know how good it is, but as they get more support, if they get more support, it could definitely be solid to have. And so if you want to get these at a cheaper price, Genesis Impact is not exactly the greatest set, although it has seen some steady growth in value after the past, let's say 6 to 7 months. I know you're not going to be able to see the cutoff part of the screen over there. I apologize. Typically, I do this so that it appears cleanly on the screen, and now I'm scrolling through stuff. But I was just trying to point out the value of the set starting to rise a bit. Evil Twin Lila is also up, not quite as much, but $13, and I think, we'll have a similar trajectory. Oddish Revolution Dragon, pretty cheap for a little bit. A couple of accessible copies on here anyway. People trying to make a sale. They were $27 before. It looks like now you got some people listing at $20, $19.99, battling each other for sales. This is likely to be a Megatin card, but if they did skip out on one, I could see this being skipped. So who knows? It was an import. Whether or not they'll put it in the Megatins, it remains to be seen. I still think the Secret Rare will hold value decently well, but I'd be cautious about how much you're spending. I mean, 30 bucks is a lot, but if you can get it at 15, 20, and you want the Secret Rare and you're okay with the fact that it may get reprinted, it's not the worst buy. Chaos Creator is seeing a lot more attention lately, I think, as people start to look towards ways to work it into decks. It is a really good card. I just, outside of Thunder Dragons, don't see a ton of immediate application. 25 bucks on this, and Toon Chaos has just seen growth, incredibly for the first editions for a lot of cards. So that's just, wanted to keep an eye on. If you were interested in, if you have extras, you may want to list them, because these were, 13 bucks for a while, I think. I mean, and unlims are even up, so it's got to be more to do with this card's viability, but the set and Toon Chaos just, having that name that draws people in. Soul Servant, $36. This is ridiculous. I know people like their Dark Magicians, but I would not pay this price. It's a really good card, an insanely good card, actually, for the deck, but Legendary Duels Season 3 should be on the horizon, I hope. And when it does, you would think that this would be a lock to be in there. So I would avoid 36 rather. Market price of 28 bucks, though. I mean, people are paying it. But I would say to wait. That's just my personal opinion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm really just giving you guys my thoughts, what I would do, and in some cases, what I have done. Relinquished Anima's up a little bit at 15. It was about 12 before. Market price is 15, so it seems pretty steady. It looks like the price has just kind of shifted into itself. Just a really good card. It's certainly effective in decks like Drytron, and it's a good out, locked behind a $30 paywall that I don't see getting a reprint anytime soon unless it's, thrown into an OTS or something. So another one to point out, Prank Kids Doodle Doo, $15. It's up a bit. I think I may be a little bit late to the party on this one, just in terms of noticing it, but I'm seeing it, so now I'm sharing it with you. That and Prank Kids Palace are both the two highest. Prank Kids Place, sorry, are both the two highest of the set. And some of the other Prank Kid monsters are decent value for stuff you might have kept in bulk for a while too. It remains to be seen whether or not Hidden Summoner sees any substantial growth, because overall the set is irredeemably bad, even with the Prank Kids stuff. But if you do have Doodle Doo and Prank Kids Place, they seem to be contenders to have, some growth over time. And lastly today, we're going to talk about this real quick here. Domino Butterfly, still available, 16 copies, 15 near mint and better. It's up a bit, about $8. And we'll see whether or not that goes anywhere else with the speed ride, the OTS, or the OCG pack basically confirming that this is not in it, and so we don't know whether or not we're getting it here in TCG. I think some people may be waiting on that, but this is an insanely good card. It's a tuner. It's basically allows you to recur your banished wind monsters, which is just the best part of this effect, and you will absolutely play some of them as pendulums. So overall, a really, really good card. And Rubber Band Shooter is the other one I mentioned. $3 for this. It's a link. It gives you an extra normal summon and pulls Speedroids out of the deck. Just a really, really good card, and I would not recommend buying this out or anything like that, but if you don't have one and you're interested in playing the deck, I think getting it sooner rather than later would be pretty good, simply because I think it will eventually hit like $5 to $7, given the fact that it's not slated for reprint, and it's from a Battles of Legends set. We have no idea when they plan on slotting those cards back into anything. So that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know if there's anything I missed, if there's anything you guys want to react to, and thank you so much as always for watching. Please leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel rather to stay up to date with this new episode of the ban list discussion series coming very soon. We had a few technical errors that need to be resolved, but it will be up shortly. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.